Hi folks, I have built the new 1/35th scale Alvis Stalwart from Airfix, and I thought I would go through some of my build. I haven't filmed it, it's all going to be on pictures, and some thought on this kit. And just to let you know, I've had an absolute blast building one. So where do we start in regards to this kit? When I did the review last week, I just put it out there and I showed you all the parts. I showed you the instructions, I showed you the decal sheet, I showed you the clear parts, and I just said that, you know, I do my unboxings so that you can judge for yourself on whether you want to buy this kit. I put my opinions across. If I spot things that I think are necessary to mention, I will. Now, when I did mine, I didn't think I had that much in sync, you know, the sync marks. And then a couple of videos came out, and unfortunately their kits was covered with sync marks. I had sync marks in the places you think, down the sides of the hull, on the body, a little bit around the doors, and I also saw the sync marks on the tailgates and the sides. But you know, I just kind of thought, you know, it wasn't too much for me. And I don't think my kit was as bad as I'd seen in these other videos. There were two short shots on my kit. One of them was C15, and that was basically like an arm, so that if you wanted that, I think it's the water dispersal bit at the front to be fully opened, you would need that part C15. And if you look at the pictures on screen, you will see the one on the right and the one on the left. You can clearly see that that little part is being mismolded, and it hasn't got the length to it that you would need. Now, on Nigel's channel, there was a chap who repaired his by using the arms that, if you want it closed, he cut that down to size and to the extra part, and stuck that on. So he found a workaround, but you know, that isn't very good. And the other short shot was part C34. The cage that the radio sat in, there were two tabs that were not molded correctly. In fact, they weren't even there. And it was Nigel who picked this up, because I put it together. I did notice that there was no tabs there, and I kind of thought maybe I cut them off. But no, actually they were missing, and I didn't feel them. I just glued it all together thinking it won't be seen anyway, I don't think, or it might be seen. And Nigel said, yeah, they were missing. So there, if you've seen the pictures there, you see that this cage goes round the larger radio, and those tabs were missing. And Nigel found on a second kit that he had bought, there was a short shot behind the dashboard, I believe. But check out his video on this. If you want to see a build step by step of the Stalwart, I suggest visiting Nigel's modelling bench, and I'll link it in one of the corners so you can go and watch his video. Now, with all the controversy that's surrounding this, I had reached out to Airfix, and I was told that they were investigating this issue. So fair play to them. You know, this should not have happened on this kit, for the large amount of sync on some kits and the short shot. So I imagine that they will be on the phone to India to find out what the hell went wrong with this release. Hello, this is Airfix. Is that quality control? Hi, is it possible to speak to Stevie Wonder, please? Thank you. Yep. Again, all that, I put it out there. I did not spot these things when I did the review, or I should call it an unboxing. But there is, you know, the idea is that when we do an unboxing, it's that I highlight and show you what you're getting in the box. And I'm not trying to force you into buying it. I knew damn well when I saw this kit, I was going to build it. And I saw a picture online of a cab completely rusted out, and I thought to myself, that's what I'm going to do to mine. I'm going to weather it and make it really dirty and rusty. That was my premise. But making sure that when you look at it, you would think that if you got in that Stalwart, turn the key, it would start. So there you go. That was my premise of it. And to be honest with you, the build was absolutely fine. I actually found it really intriguing how it went together. You know, you put the sides on the hull, and you build up the dash, and I did put some detail in there. I made it dirty, I made it rusty. So I opted not to use the seat, but to use the battery box. And after I had fitted it, it was pointed out that there was a lot of sink on that box, and yet it was, but I kind of like that because it gave it more of a look of it being battered, and that was the whole point of me rusting it out and making it, you know, look poor, I should say. By the way, I didn't use any filler on this kit. I just went in dry with it, and I just put it all together, taking shots when I progressed, and it went together absolutely fine. Now, as you will see in the pictures of this build, I'll put them up on the screen, I sprayed the kit in dark green. I thought it was a good colour, and I knew that when I was going to weather it and make it rusty, you wouldn't see a lot of that green underneath. So it was there as basically a base layer. And over the time of the weathering, I used Humbrol powders, believe it or not. I used smoke, I used dark rust, I used yellow sand, and I just started to add the weathering powders to the kit and basically build up all those rich colours to make it look dirty, old and unloved. I will say the hatches, I balls up the first hatch because I was trying to fill in the holes, because where those ejector pin marks were just tragic. That really was a tragic place to put them. I'm sure there would be another way of putting pins in, or a way of ejecting the mold without putting them there, because I know that most people will have those hatches open. But so I ran up to Jad Lam, bought another one, came back, snipped off the hatches, and I was able to do the rest of the build. And again, it was simples, it was nice. Now, the other controversy that I've been seeing online is the fact that they used a clear part to create the exhaust cover. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand that people will like the thought of being able to have an exhaust that you can see through, and I get that cover, you know, in theory you should be able to see through it, it'll be nice and thin. And people were crying out saying, we need photo-etch, you know, it should have been photo-etch. Well, okay, that's fine. If you want to use photo-etch, I am sure that there will be aftermarket photo-etch for this kit within the foreseeable. And to be fair, I thought it was a really clever way of producing a mesh like that. You know, it was, you know, the way it's designed and put together, it took a couple of attempts for me to work out by the pictures. I got it together, I glued it up, and I put it on over the exhaust, and then I sprayed it green, and then I used a panel line wash, and then used the powders to make it look like a rusty old exhaust cover. Now, people go on about photo-etch. Now, I have a theory about why Airfix don't put photo-etch in their boxes. Now, you could say, oh, we know it's because they want to keep the age down from 14 to 8, because if they put photo-etch in, it has to be sold to children. You know, you couldn't be sold to children. I understand that, and I know there's another argument that's saying that it's all about cost and everything. Yeah, that's true. But one other thing I think could be a big possibility in this, that with the photo-etch, it would raise the skill level from a skill level 3 to a skill level 4. Now, you may say, oh, it's just an exhaust box. But no, you know, this exhaust case would need to be, because rounded at the top, you know, you would have to manipulate that photo-etch and make sure it's all nice and tight curved on the top, glue it together with, you know, super glue, and then you'd have to, because of the thickness of the plastic either side of that exhaust box, you would have to either have a little tab that goes under. So it'll be a lot of folding, a lot of work together, and that would raise this from a skill level 3 to a skill level 4. I think this is a skill level 2 anyways, because for me it went together almost without a hitch. A lot of parts there, maybe the skill level is judged by that part count and for the size, but I promise you, like the Ferret Scout, this, if you are struggling to build a model or you're getting back in the game, this to me is a perfect mojo build. For 35 or 40 quid, you've got yourself a model there and you can do what you like with it. And there you are. It's a great kit. I enjoyed it. When I was getting to the end of this build, I was actually feeling rather sad that I was coming to the end of it. And I think I was speaking to Luke from Black Rifle, and he said to me, he goes, because I mentioned Nigel mentions this as well in his videos as well, that sometimes he doesn't finish kits because he's sad about finishing them. And it kind of proves to me that if you feel sad at the end of the build, you know you've had a real enjoyable experience, and you're sad that the time is up on building this model and you're going to get it completely finished. There you are. I'm going to get a lot of criticism because when I show you the pictures in a minute, you will see that I've rusted everywhere. My bad. I just assumed that it was all steel. I didn't realise that the sides of the Stalwart and the tailgate is aluminium, so you won't see rust in those places. But you win some, you lose some. I don't know much about this vehicle. All I know is that when I saw the box art, I was like, that's a vehicle that I want to have a go at, and I did. And I took about a couple of hours every night. I built it over 5 days, and then I put the pictures up online. That in itself, wheels, everything, putting the mirrors on, the glass, fantastic. I just painted inside the edge of the groove black, and then I painted the edge of the glass black as well, and then just glued them in, and they look fine. Then I dirtied them up using weathering powders, and that's really it. I've got nothing more to say. And as I said, if you want to hate on the rust, I get it. My fault. When I saw a picture of a cab which was really dirty, and also I got told that the front, that those water things, I feel like I don't know what they're called. They were made of wood, and I've rusted the hell out of that as well. So, right, let's put the pictures up now. This is the final view of this Alvis Stalwart 1/35 scale from Airfix. bit of a what if this was all made of steel. I'm really pleased with what I've come up with. I've posted it online. I've had a lot of really good comments about it, and I do recommend this kit to anyone out there who really fancies something a little bit different. If they're struggling to get back on the bench, for me this is a cracking model to build. And now I've built it, I'm going to just lay it there for you. If you want to build one, you can click the link in the description box below, or in the comments where I'll leave a link to this. You can buy one from the Airfix website, and they do have a lot in stock. All right, and that's it. That's what I wanted to do. I just want to talk about this and the build, talk about the controversies and you know, the things about the sink marks. But at the end of it, it didn't affect me, because when you see the results, you know, I use no filler on this build. All right, and that's it from me. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, click like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, ring that bell, click all to be notified when I release a new video. Any questions, any comments regarding this build, leave them in the comments box below, and I do reply. One huge shout out to my channel members who help me financially with this channel. If you'd like to become a channel member, click join below and set which membership tier you so wish. We have a channel members only live stream, which is on a Tuesday, where we all work on the bench, talk about technique, talk about scale modeling, and just have a bit of fun. And that's every Tuesday if you are a channel member. And I will see you in the next video. Have a great one.